interesting angle to this Chitrini is, first and foremost, light is coming to us from the sun, passing through our eye, falling on the back of your head. This is your projector screen. Now this projected screen is again forming in front of us as projection. So all that we see is nothing but projected light coming through us. So we are actually seeing the projected beam outside of us. So what we see as entire universe in front of us, the earth, all the celestial bodies, all the elements, everything that we see is nothing but a beam of light projections. So all our life we were only being told that open your eyes, see the world, close your eyes, dream about it. So we never had this clarity that you can rise above this so-called projection world. Chitrini is not a projection world, it is to return back to the projector. Very interesting angle to this. When you look into eyes of an awakened yogi, the eye gaze is not just outward, it is inward and outward. The whole cosmos is dancing in the eyes of an awakened one. The whole, when you have witnessed the cosmos as is without coloration, you have an expanded view of the cosmos. You don't look at a physical body with lust and greed and acquisition. The whole beauty of this, the reality, what you see as reality, is actually not what it is. It is a lot of projections happen. For instance, you look at a person. In an awakened reality, you can actually see light as is and not the projected beam. That means you see nothing but a golden frame pillar standing in front of you. That is your original reality. But what you see as projected reality is a biological instrument. So what do? Now I had this gift of watching all three dimensions. One is the X-ray vision, where I could see the inner depth of the organ with open eyes. Then I had this crystalline vision of watching golden light beams. Then I have this extraordinary ability to see the merger of all three. That means the biological instrument, the inner dimensions of the subtle body, and then the component of the entire auric field. So that means in an awakened state, you can see the depth of the entire projection as it was meant to be seen and not what we have perceived or taught to be seen. For instance, I'll give you an example. You asked me about how what is reality. I read about a story where a scientist, an explorer, goes to a very remote island and meets a tribe. He has brought his boat, the explorer, and he is excited to show to this remotest tribe who has never seen a boat in their life. He goes to them and says, "Come, I will show you something." He signals them and says, "Look at this beautiful boat which I have brought." They cannot see the boat. They cannot see the boat because in their perception they have never ever been told that there is something called boat. We have always been programmed by education, by visual boards, by constant. We have learned this is boat, this is plane, this is tree, this is motorcycle. We have been told, since we have been told, our perception starts growing, and when we relate it with the image and its shape, size, form, characteristics, we start building visual forms in our head. All that we see is perception. If you don't have that perception, you cannot see the object. Those tribes could not see the big, incredible boat right in front of them. So what is perception? It is given to us. It has been trained. We train the whole brain to actually access information and connect it with the object. So Chitrini smashes the door of what is perception, what is reception. It can actually see that both of these dimensions with the clarity of the inner dimensional eye, which is called the Divya Chakshu. The inner dimensional eye, the Divya Chakshu, sees through the projection, sees through the projector, sees through the entire perception versus reception. So it is shocking because all that we have learned now have to be unlearned. What do? All we think that we know about physics has to be unlearned. What do you think about how this whole dimension works? In average person's eyes, everything is a challenge. Everything has to be done in a certain way, programmed way. Chitrini tells you don't have to be so difficult. It suddenly opens your gateway to mastery. Now instead of you struggling, you're sitting in one place and you want that magnetic reality. For instance, you need food. Food comes to you. You are sitting there, you are so magnetically empowered by that light that the light dimension starts creating, manifesting things for you, events for you, makes it happen. So it is like a unlocking your higher dimensional reality, which was not possible for you to do it personally on your own. You are now in direct synchronicity with the master dimension, and then the whole reality shifts. So this is a big learning for all of us, because what we know as reality has been told to us by a very rigid system, very traditional, conventional system said this is it, take it, take it. All we did was we became like a hard-bound book. Within the framework, we are all fine. If we come out of the framework, we don't know what to expect. So we get lost. That's why you need the guidance of the inner guru channel to come aflame, and at every given point, there is a certain level of master guiding you. So accordingly, all the channels are sorted so that the cosmic journey into liberation is only possible because you access the Jyotirlinga, the infinite pillar of light within us, and that unlocks the Chitrini channel to its full dimensional expression. Till then, we are just a projected being struggling to deal with. How many of us realize that this body is just a projection? Why there is so much struggle of Kundalini? Why is Kundalini struggling to deal with this instrument? Let us look at it. We can't change the movie script in a cinema hall. We may cry, we may laugh, we may joke about it, we may criticize it, we may get upset with this whole script. That means we have to be the director of our life. We can't be an audience and expect results. So moving towards mastery means becoming the director or the co-creator of your life. And for that, you need to start moving out of this paradigm of being just a mute witness.
How do you do it on a practical level?
Practical level, first and foremost, understand the depth of this science by watching this depth of Kriya Yoga's possibilities. Unless you understand the science, just by moving hands and legs won't make any difference to your state. First and foremost, the incredible, fabulous bewilderment that such an incredible science is passing through us, incredible design of this instrument, incredible potential of this instrument, which was not known, and that is why people don't commit to any Kriya, because they don't know enough. If they knew it, they would press this button.
Okay, and what is happening?
What is happening? First and foremost, it's called click into alignment. You see, alignment is often misunderstood. People have so much interest towards expression of this body cosmetically. What if your skin is glowing, everything is beautiful from outside, but the inner dimension is left unattended? You might look pretty, but you're not beautiful from inside. What does it mean? It means the sacred geometric alignment of all this. So it's like a, how a structure of a pyramid is. If you say this 51 is the angle of a pyramid, you cannot say 52 is okay, I can manage. That 1 degree angle can create all the difference and make the instrument ready for the transmission of this channel. So we have to align this instrument with the precision of a scientist, with the depth of commitment of an artist. So that how do you align? First and foremost, this body looks very complex because we think this body is has to look good from outside so that all the clothes look good. First and foremost, just look at the way the clothes fall on you. Just the way the clothes sit on you. It shows the way you carry energy. It shows if there is a misalignment, whatever beautiful clothes you wear is still not going to look good on you. Second thing, important, look at the way your eyes see through this whole life in flow. If your eyes are only detecting negativities, struggle with life forms, struggle with relationships, struggles with the way magnetism is coming to you or not. So the first sign is alignment with life itself. Are we in distortion with life in its flow? Are we in distortion with the design in flow? Are we in distortion with the very sense of purpose? If there is no sense of purpose, what's the point moving hands and legs? What are you doing it for? You should have the clarity of why are you doing it at all. Is it doing it for just because you have nothing else to do? Are you doing it because you just want to get in shape? Kriya is not a just only form alignment mechanism. The alignment happens when you are in synchronicity with your life purpose, with the depth of intent, depth of calling, and a deep sense of ability to be a trance receiver so that you can serve. So Kriya enables you to come back closer and closer to your real self, what is the power of flow. So alignment, it's like a joining of the several aspects of life forms, several aspects of the life force, several aspects of the elements which are in readiness to be of use to you. For instance, all the food that we consume is basically converted into energy. It is supposed to give us all the essence of it. How should it reflect? It should reflect as vitality. It should reflect as fragrance coming out from the skin. It should reflect as radiance of the sun inside your eyes. It should, all the aspects of this life is that we are closer and closer and closer to the source. Kriya enables you to first come into click with the original way this body was designed for and not the way we have corrupted it. We have corrupted it by greed, self-gratification. All depth of struggle is coming from that we want to feel good, gratified through pleasure zones. So maximum pleasure in our instrument, we have accessed it only by substance but not by essence, is sublimation. This is a process of sublimation. If you stop interacting with only your mouth and your anus, you will realize that there is a deeper processing of energy which is in interaction with the sun, with the moon. So the body starts to absorb directly from the source and not the secondary and tertiary component. Secondary source of food is what you get from the earth, and third is you gather it from injecting it into you. Rather than consuming it, you are injecting into you. You are trying to get it from drugs and from other substances. So what is this energy? Energy is everywhere. Body does not have any energy. Energy is flowing through us. So energy, whatever is absorbed, is radiating a bit. It's still a very bleak biophotonic transmission. So what is this concept? What are we here for? What is the calling? If that calling is not right, Kriya by itself cannot do any magic for you. It is like doing mimicking a motion, but there is no depth of commitment to the alignment itself. Alignment happens when the internal click happens, when there is a connection to the, it's like you have a button, you press that button, you know that you have touched the button. Now it is time for activation and actualization to happen, actuation to happen. That means you have to get this whole rhythmic connection with the body. Alignment first begins with the biorhythm in synchronicity with the cosmic rhythm. That's the first stage of alignment. Second, your connection with the entire cosmic channels which are passing through all of us, which we have been ignoring, neglecting, disregarding, dishonoring. How do we think that our connection can come alive? Are we in synchronicity with this? Since we think that all is about gaining from physical dimension, we are not able to tap to our inner dimension. The biggest trouble here is the misalignment or confusion that happen with the outer and inner. The conflict here is a part of us wants to be outer, part of us wants to be inner. The safe middle path is to be having half in, half out. Alignment is you should be able to celebrate the bliss of the inner dimension and express it to the outer dimension. So aligned instrument and aligned master flow is that energy flows from the inner dimension to outer. Here we are trying to do the opposite way. We are trying to grab from outer and then trying to sort the inner dimension. It's not going to happen. you cannot invent bliss. Bliss is already there. It is integral part of our genesis and expression. And we are already bliss. You cannot try to be bliss. We are already gods. You cannot try to be gods. But the godliness exists in cleanliness, in purification, in calibration, and dissolving all that we are not. So this is the conflict here. How can you drop something which you have held for so long? Our own emotional baggage prevents us from accessing alignment. So alignment process begins with the ability to throw off everything that you are not. Say for instance, the alignment of the heart, brain, gut, the most sacred alignment process, so that this inner brain connection here, this is also a brain. It has got 100 billion neurons throbbing and giving you intuitive guidance of what to do. If this is out of alignment, you will never have intuitive guidance. You will only carry from knowledge from here and there, but that knowledge is not useful because it is not actualizing through action inside us. So the gut is very primary for choosing the right knowledge, the right master connection, the right actions, ideations, ideas for actions. So the gut, so it is often been used only as a fermented baggage, and people have deep disconnection with the gut. If this is not aligned, you will only have crappy, fearful thoughts. The reason why so much of disastrous Kundalini journeys is because the gut is not clean. They have safely kept the gut out of this picture. They have bypassed gut. They thought gut is not important part of this. Only focus brain, all the time focused on thought forms. What is a thought form finally? It is coming from your fear channel, deep embedded in your gut. If this is not clean, you will only have disparity thoughts. If this is fine, you will have unity awareness. The most important aspect of spiritual journey is the beginning process known as the willpower. If you don't have enough willpower in place, you could be a fragile leaf in the storm. Anything could happen. Anybody, wherever the storm pulls you, you will go. We are not having the depth of commitment, depth of acceptance that your reality is no longer the same as the average mainstream. The mainstream wants you to be just hanging around doing the same set of things every time in a repeat mode. We keep on pressing the repeat mode. Kundalini is not a repeat mode. Kundalini is a creative mode. So when you operate in a creative dimension, you need to keep the instrument ready for that explosiveness. You cannot play around with a nuclear reactor and do all kinds of experiments. You need to put it in the hands of a very deep explorer who has understanding and depth of the science. Same way, when you start playing with the elements, what you put in is going to become you. So if you are going to put in red meat, you're going to invite fear in your elements. You're going to bring in all that level of trauma that the animal has gone through in your system. What do you expect to happen? Do you want to go the long route of struggle, or you want the fastest route? If you want the fastest route, you need to make choices. Choices will govern your depth of acceleration in the spiritual process. If you do not have, if you say anything is okay, if anything is okay, then you could live a life of an ignorant. How different are we from everybody else? We have just been part of an ignorant channel where ignorance is bliss. If ignorance is bliss, it is arrogance, because we have completely denied ourselves the creative intelligence which is required for us to invite the right choices. What kind of people have you attracted in your life? What kind of lifestyle that you lead? What kind of inspiration are you? What kind of character is coming to you? We have 64 genetic codes to pick from. We can just say this is my natural stream. So, Swabhava Vijayati iti Shauryam. That means you should have the caliber, the courage to rise above the characteristics which are limiting us from accessing the higher intelligence. We can say fear is not going to invite higher intelligence. Our greed, our shame, or all kinds of low frequency thought forms are part of the design, so that you are going to rise through it. Once your rising starts, you should know when to discard, how to discard all that is not you. Have the courage. The missing element here is we latch on to those forms because it is part of the mainstream. We are part of the crowd. If 1 million says it's okay to have fear. We think that fear is our part of our mainstream, so it's acceptance that fear is the only way. What is the freedom that is required for us to overcome this fear? It needs courage. And again the Indriyas. Indriya Vijayati Ati Shauryam. If you don't rise above the sensory pull, you will not liberate from this whole process. What is this Kundalini for? If you are going to get pulled by lower desires, constantly asking for gratification, constantly looking for digestive process, that oh, if I don't eat this food, I will be undernourished. If I am not able to get this kind of depth of comfort, I will always be in shame that I was not good enough. So we always have this poverty thought that comes to us that we are not good enough, we are not abundant enough. First and foremost, devotion. Without devotion, there is no fuel to access the higher self. Why is this missing component here is that we think that it is supposed to organically come to us anyway. The devotion pulls you from being a separate struggler into an integrated mechanism. The very aspect of Kundalini is to help you become constantly integrated. Constant integrated awareness. This is the science of awakened reality. Devotion doesn't mean we begging for help. Devotion means ability to honor the divine within us. The divine is throbbing inside us with tremendous creativity. We are misconstruing it by thinking that I will go outside and seek God. There is no more seeking required. You are it. It is flowing through you, for you, and also enabling you to get empowered so that you can be a useful trance receiver. Godliness is important here. There's a big difference between pretending to be a god and accessing godliness. The very aspect of godliness is ability to feel love, sense the purity of transmission of energy, ability to share it without holding it back, without the sense of any loss anymore or gain anymore. There is no loss, no gain. Just a neutral instrument which is can be a witness, can be an absorber, can be a transmitter, can be a receiver, can be available as a frequency and fragrance, can be available as a very incredible inspiration. If we do not have inspiration, see, inspiration can be one time, but we need daily motivation. Depth of calling is very crucial to this whole process. Kundalini is not like, oh, I had a calling few years ago, then I didn't have anything happening, so I lost interest in it. So the patience required for the calling to actualize. For instance, you're climbing a mountain. It may not be so easy unless the mountain spirit is enabling you to have a journey of ride through this process. There could be avalanches, there could be blizzards, there could be so many gusty winds, there could be so many challenges all through. Just the very indomitable spirit that is required of a summiter, somebody who can access the peak with that readiness. So that level of indomitable spirit. So devotion, incredible determination not to get defocused. So that the quality of a being who is unifocused, who is capable of getting to the point where there is no way you can even budge 1 millimeter from it. Every iota of you is engaged, immersed and absorbed, and that is very high quality, high caliber being who cannot deviate even 1 degree, because 1 degree means deviation from the source. So from that point of determination comes that spirit which is so unshakable. People may talk about it, ill about it, but you are not fazed by this, you are not disturbed by it. The presence and absence of anyone around you who is disturbing you cannot take shape in a very pure, clear, refined, attuned being. He is unshakable, and that leads to that incredible feeling of connectedness, constantly connected. The sign of an awakened being is constantly connected, constantly realized, constantly integrated, constantly in synchronicity with the unity awareness. And this is the primary aspect of this liberation, that we are not separate, we look like we are separate, at the same time are we attached, we are not attached because we are not emotionally drawn, we are stable, still, and yet able to feel the depth of the entire projection. It's like the source is watching its own projections all through, but it is unfazed by all the cries of emotional struggles because you know it is temporary. The real aspect here is, have you reserved the depth of gratitude? I think the most incredible aspect of this depth of our offering is gratitude. When even if there is nothing happening, can you show gratitude? People say, only if I have a magnanimous event inside me, then I will profusely shed my tears and show gratitude. What if you have gratitude for the very life that is already flowing through you? That means we don't have to need a mega event to celebrate. We start celebrating the smallest aspects. That's like how a child can jump with joy by looking at a helium balloon. We all have a lot of self-pity that, oh, I am in pain, I am in trouble. There is a surpassing level of emotion which is you are in gratitude for the very state, immaterial of its consequence. You don't have to always be in self-pity mode, self-comforting mode. The fact remains is you are exactly where you are supposed to be at this moment. If you are in synchronicity with that understanding that everything is for the highest good, where is the trouble? The trouble lies in our ability to not realize that the depth of gratitude that you offer back to the source for the very state, even in pain, even in pleasure, even in a non-event, even in a spectacular occasion where you have an explosive device blasting through you. All across, the very underlining factor is, can you sustain an incredible, powerful gratitude that shatters the roof of so-called personification that I exist because I am doing it. The doership goes away. This whole component of that I am doing things and that is why I am guiding my kundalini, my belief systems, my mind, my ego. Wherever there is personification, this is the root cause of all the pains and struggles because we think that we are in control of this whole process and we are now going to guide it, manipulate it, monitor it. We are going to find all the solutions. We are going to find new ways of finding innovative ways of reinventing ourselves. So the whole onus falls on us. Now we have to take care of so many things which we are not ready for. We don't have the knowledge, neither we have the skills. So it's important to find the company of realized beings so that it will rub off on you faster. The joy of watching a realized being in a flow, that means you see a mastery in action. You see the transmissions in action. Just being in the company of a realized being is enough to completely rework your entire energy system which has gone missing in understanding. People think, I had a good meeting. Really? That's all? You are not meeting a master, you are encountering the real you. It is reflecting inside you as qualitative shift in the way energy patterns in your system is. It's like bringing a powerful magnet in front of you. All the rewiring takes shape, the elements come into higher levels of readiness, the whole chemical shift happens, the emotion shift happens, the depth of remembrance, intelligence, everything comes into flow. All this while, you just thought that you are responsible for your reasoning and intellect. Now, the intelligence takes over because intellect exhausts. The sign of an awakened state is intellect exhausts. There is no more rational because it is all shattered. Now the intelligence takes over. Intelligence is doing things which you did not know about, did not realize. There is a higher knowing flowing through all of us. This higher knowing re-guides your instrument, re-guides your journey. All of us have a journey to liberation and completion. So unless that is not clear in us, Kundalini feels like a nice little attribute that we have gathered by, you cannot buy Kundalinis. That realization when it comes to you that you cannot try to acquire anything. You are in that mastery channel where you are completely in state of surrender. Surrender is misunderstood. Surrendered action. Surrender doesn't mean lying on the sofa and expecting an incredible uprising. So surrendered action, that means the process of, once you realize that there is a tool and mechanism to flow, it's like learning an art. Once you know through the art you can experience the godliness. This Kriya Yoga is like an incredible marriage of art and science. Incredible aspect here is everything is a science. It may look weird because our cultures have been told that you need to look tidy, prim, proper, very like an assembly line product. All of us came with that assembly line product. You saw the way our jawlines have been totally jammed. If you ask most people to open their jaw, they cannot even fully open their jaw. This has been, you see, the major part of this mandibular connection here is that when this is locked, the structural integrity is not in its prime expression. Just by moving the mandibles, you start flowing through the instrument. This was a gift which we didn't know. Just by moving your eyeball into different aspects of your body projection, this is a science of Trataka. You can shift the projections. You can also make higher visionary strength, your attributes. By moving the eyeball in the brain, you can activate the portals in the brain. By opening your tongue up, you can unlock the nitric oxide channels. You can cool down the mechanism. Nitric oxide is a cool current which will unlock all the arteries and veins and capillaries and make yourself ready for higher flow. So, tongue is the second strongest muscle in the body. It has a certain purpose which has been misunderstood. The use of language, the use of sounds. If tongue has not moved properly across the entire circuitry of the salivary channels and the mouth circuitry, it is not capable of being a full-time expression. Saraswati Nadi from the tip of the tongue goes all the way to the end of the canal, at the alimentary canal, go down, it's called Alambusa Nadi. All our life we thought that tongue was only for tasting food. We didn't know what to do with it. We could move the tongue in multiple directions and shift the so-called reality of what we are. See, if for instance, there is chaos, there is order. Both are, one is called entropy, which is chaos. Disentropy means order. The krama, the design, original design is coming to us as order. It is also very having a conspiracy that it has introduced chaos in our life. Chaos was part of the challenge. Order was part of the gift. So, there are challenges and gifts. So, along with, if we didn't have anything to do, what are we doing with this instrument? If there were no challenges, everybody would be sloshed on the bed, nobody would move. Since there is pain, there is discomfort, when there is disease, when there is chronic ailments, we step out and wanting to do something very powerful to either take the medicinal route or take the route of knowledge. And the Kriya enables us to sort our own instrument by igniting all the inner chemical laboratory. Human body is the largest chemical laboratory ever known. It has all the chemicals, all the elements meant for us to revive on its own. But we have forgotten. Kriya Yoga enables us to extract the best of this laboratory in the fastest possible way. That's why you're using your tongue, you're using the process known as Swarodaya. We don't know what a micro breath is. People have forgotten what a micro breath is. Kriya Yoga, what we are doing right now is an eclectic mechanism. It has surpassed the so-called ordinariness that we have to just only do the pranayama. Okay? We are doing a very sacred process known as Swarodaya, where you get to the caliber of what is Swara. Swara means the very sound of the prana passing through you is called Swara. Now, if the Swara is rising upward back to the source from where it came from, it is called Swarodaya. Now, in this science, all the aspects of limitations placed by Swara not rising can be sorted by first focusing on the very point of opening these channels. One is called Jaya channel, another is called Vijaya. One is victory, another is upward victory. So, if you get these channels fully open enough so that you can actually have a small strand of breath flowing through you in such a subtle way that you don't need to do some excessive breathing process. You go to the micro channel known as Swara. This micro channel will unlock the great pure strands which have been missing in our life for it is. See, it's like mastery is the subtlest of all arts. It is mastery is not by power, it is by allowing the finest aspect of these transmissions. When you step on your toes, again this is connection to the Udana Vayu, which is there in all the extremities of our fingers and toes. When you hop, it's first of all there is a huge engagement with the heart, which is cardiovascular, with the lungs and heart. That means more of the prana and bloodstream and oxygenation is happening in the instrument. And when you are attuning here, you are aligning the brain to receive more of this current. Usually our brain circuits are very clogged by so many, our brain is mostly full of fatty acids. So, and also a lot of a huge stockpile of our brain is water. 90% of our brain is water. The water is usually inspired by even a thought form and an intent. Once you start working on these channels intensely, it will tune the brain to such a state that you cannot think anymore. You enter into a stillness. That stillness will take you to the core of the brain, where there is a cave inside the brain, which is called the Brahma Guha. In this, you can access the zero field magnetism. So, when you attain that zero field magnetism in your midbrain, the unifocus happens right from the tip of the toe to the mid of your brain. There is a sacred unification process. Unipointedness, unifocusedness, this is the fastest way to get the Kundalini to its magnanimous expression is by unipointedness. If you just simply sit in meditation, it might take longer, but Kriya will enable it to make it highly progressively faster. A part of us has become dormant. We have been programmed into comfort living, where we have bodily bath, but the vibrational field of that organ has not expressed itself fully. By if you tap into the heart, say continuously, say 333 times like this on your heart center alignment channel, and just stand there, you will feel the whole river of current passing through your body. This is a science which has been used even in the Shaolin monastery. Somebody sent me a video saying that, look, the Shaolin monastery masters are doing this technique. Did you know of it? I said, yes, this is parallel intelligence. It is everywhere. It's eclectic. Tapping is an incredible way of reassuring the body to its peak vibrational field. All the organs are vibrating, but it is dormant. We have to get it back to its peak vibrancy field. You see, the way tongue is designed, it was meant to give us extension of our expression. This is the final delivery point. The wholesomeness of you is finally in the qualitative tone, the qualitative pitch, the qualitative depth of your expression. The tongue was not only meant for accessing food, it was meant for us to also pull the digestive tract and rewire it. By pulling the tongue down, directly you are connecting to the entire canal, alimentary canal. You are going all the way down to the elimination point. This is two nadis, alambusa, kuhu nadi. So, when you pull your tongue down, you are attuning these two nadis, so that first and foremost digestion, absorption, elimination, sublimation, all are taken care. So, tongue is your like a master driving navigator. It is used as a means to recharge your connection with the gut, heart and brain. So, by moving tongue in multiple directions, you can get, just by holding the tongue out and focusing, put all your attention into the tip of the tongue, you will have the most incredible energetic dynamism inside your entire instrument. That means tongue is your master control. That's why Sri Krishna, one of the greatest masters to have passed this plane, said, if you gain control over your tongue and your anus, you are mastered art of the science of living. Very clear focus. When you pull your tongue down, you are in your gut. When you pull your eyes up, you are in the midbrain. Direct communication by bridging the gap into your top of your crown. You want an upsurge of current. You want to move upwards. Yoga is about moving upwards into this channel and accessing higher dimension. When you hop, you increase the capacity of your pumping. You enable, it's like a support mechanism. You're raising the bodily strength to have higher chances of upsurge, because when the heart starts pumping, more oxygenation happening, more nitrification happening, that means more and more surge possible. So increasing higher opportunity by hopping on your toes, helium activation, tapping, more prana flow, pulling eye up, unifocused to attain union. The whole cosmos, what we see is a cosmos, is actually a sound. A sound has come from movement. So everything that you see, perceive and don't see, everything is already a vibration. Whether we like it or not, believe it or not, it's already a vibration. What level of vibration? If we are simply standing still, not doing anything, we're still a vibration. A thought is a vibration, an intent is a vibration, an idea is a vibration. All of it finally leads to that remembrance that we are a vibration, but our relationship with movement, relationship with stillness. If you attain that state where your more movement leads to more stillness. That's why Kriya, we do so much intense movement so that we can attain maximum stillness. We are actually reversing the whole concept of trying to be in meditation and attaining movement. That's a longer route. If you have to just simply sit and not do anything and remain unifocused here, you may take years for the Kundalini to rise on its own, because to develop that level of stillness, to get that level of movement. So this vibration required for Kundalini to flow to its peak awareness is to raise the frequency of this instrument by more. What is frequency? Current moving up and down, up and down. So more you create higher frequency by movement, that much more chances of your vibrational field hitting the pinnacle expression, and the Kundalini will express in the fastest possible way. The depth of realization is we all move from the dark into light. Enlightenment is not about not having fear. Enlightenment is about watching fear without getting disturbed. So that level of remembrance comes from the soul frequency. That what is this soul? Soul is, we cannot see soul because we are it. Can you relook at life instead of watching it from a very weak angle? Watch it from the source. What if you were to watch life from above, say several thousands of feet? What do you see yourself? A small speck of dust? So here the fear is that we are not capable of experiencing the cosmic flow. We are not good enough because we don't have the right tools. All the tools are there within us. So I think the first and foremost inspiration is to live with beings who have shown us the way. That's why it is important to have an awakened being in your life. It makes it easier, because the way of living through this entire process is not by just gathering from here and there. It's about actualization of the click happens inside. Nobody can really instill courage in you. It happens when something clicks, because it is so powerful in inspiration that all other vibrational fields do not really disturb you anymore. That innermost core comes alive. You start feeling that you laugh at this whole joke. Did it really actually make you feel, say for instance, you were walking past in a forest, you suddenly felt like a snake has hit you from above. It's actually a rope. You throw flashlight on the rope, you will realize it's a rope and not a snake. What happens to your fear? Gone. So throw light on wherever there is fear. More light, more awareness, more courage.